never got a response on the meeting part. They responded on the public record part of it. So I think that there was some confusion on that. And for our purposes, both the Open Meeting Act and the Public Record Act expressly state that the AG, if we receive an Open Meeting Act complaint, shall also treat it as a public record complaint, and vice versa. So when it gets to us, there really isn't a difference. But I think when it gets to you, and when the public's making a request, I think the request probably should have been made under the Open Meetings Act. This is what the Open Meeting Act says. The open session minutes are available within 35 days. I'd like. Tim had raised the point earlier about that in this case, he suggested that the town of Central Falls was quote-unquote busting chops. And I was going to turn to Sheila on that. We were talking during the break where, actually starting at the PowerPoint presentation, we talked about that everybody should be treated the same under the Access to Public Records Act. And I was going to ask you, and maybe we can talk to Tony afterwards, when you've seen requests that you've been made, and you obviously have made requests, have you evidenced or come to the situation that Tim was talking about with busting chops, or just from your perspective, what type of responses have you gotten?
Well, one of the things that I had said to Mike during the break before the panel was that I really appreciated, and the case was actually a case you were citing where somebody was seeking records about themselves, but making the point that everybody who is seeking records should be treated the same. And one of the perceptions that I think is prevalent is that the Public Records Act and the Open Meetings Act are for the media. Only the media cares about them, only the media wants to get these records or the access to the meetings because we're going to try to dig up some dirt or find something salacious or embarrass people, which may be the case sometimes, but 99% of the time is not really the case. The case is what we are charged with is informing the public about what their government officials and bodies are doing, and we have found that as members of the press, sometimes we get treated differently, and it's a good thing because maybe we get our request fulfilled just by asking for it rather than having to file a written request. Maybe we get the response in a more professional and efficient manner, and there's a difference. I think you get treated on the other side where the press might get treated more in an antagonistic manner that, oh, what are you looking for? You're wasting my time, you're digging dirt, whatever. But the other point I was making with Mike is that the average person who goes in to a police department or to a city hall and asks for records that they believe to be our public are often treated in a completely different manner, and it's a very intimidating process for members of the public to go in and ask for these records, and they feel intimidated and they aren't treated the same way. The University of Rhode Island has done some projects with students where they've sent them to police stations and other agencies across the state asking for the same record. And not only do departments react to that request differently, but sometimes they've even gone as far as following the students out to the parking lot and taking down their license plate number, which has nothing to do with the public records request and its validity. So I really like that idea that everybody should be treated the same based on Tim and I may say that the laws could be improved, we have ideas on that, but at least the laws that we have now, everybody should be treated similarly. So for members of the press, it can be an advantage and it can be a disadvantage, but I think members of the public are often at an even greater disadvantage.
Let me just make clear, we've got some microphones in the main room. If there are people who have questions or comments or want to interject a point, please raise your hand. We'll get the microphone over to you. As we said on the agenda, audience participation is highly recommended and encouraged. You'll notice that there's really nobody from the Attorney General's office in the main room. I've told them all I was going to use the Socratic method, so they're all in the overflow rooms. But Tony, I want to get back to Sheila's point. And you have the complete opposite perspective as a person who, certainly you may not be actually on the front line making the access or the denial, but from your perspective, respond to what Sheila was saying.
Yeah, I actually disagree with Sheila. From my perspective, it seems to me that a minority of requests come from the media. I'd say less than 20%. And I think that that's a high figure. That's the first thing. The second thing is at least for the communities that I represent, the average citizen comes in, typically somebody in the clerk's office, which is the primary contact point, they're going to know who they are. And we had a case, I think a year ago, where someone came, and she was even a member of one of the boards. She asked for some documents, and the clerk had made a copy, put it on the desk, called her up and said, you can come in and pick it up the next time you're at town hall. I got it for you. Well, she didn't come in within 10 days, and then filed a complaint saying you missed the 10-day hearing. And, you know, we went through, but I said, well, what happened to her? She said, you know, she comes in all the time. I just called her up. I said, I need a copy. I just think she could come and pick the thing up. And that was a situation where the clerk knew the person, and just, you know, maybe not follow the procedure perfectly, but, you know, I could comply with it. That's one category. The other category is typically local press is known by town hall personnel, and they'll respond to it. The next category comes in, there will be groups that want, and they come on a regular basis, information about employees, salaries, and things of that nature. And their tests, and you know, I'll get a call on that, but town hall staff will say, look, this is one of those ones we're getting in that we need to comply with. And we'll respond to them. So I'll tell you about the URI, the students that came in, at least on the East Bay, I don't think they came to Lincoln, but fortunately the town clerk was there. They asked us some documents, she just gave it to them. In Barrington, they asked us some documents that the town clerk herself was working on, and she wasn't in, she was at lunch. And the student was told, can you come back at 2 o'clock, clerk will be here, she'll just make the copies. They never came back, and of course in the paper it showed up with a report that the town had not complied with the request. I generally think that unless there's some certain circumstances that I'm unaware of in other communities, perhaps that there's ill will with members of the media, or perhaps members of the public. I think that at least cities and town employees, they try and do the best they can to make those requests. The majority of the requests will come from residents of the town, and I think that they usually know and things happen. Can I just jump into one, just to illustrate this? We had a circumstance in Lincoln where a resident made a request. It was a very unfortunate circumstance. His daughter had died in a car crash. There was an issue as to how the license for the person that allegedly caused the accident had been handled. And, you know, it got referred over to the solicitor. It could be litigation. The request was not a normal request. And I had actually done an investigation on this for liability purposes for the town. He knew about it. And it was referred to me. He actually called. And he said, I know you did a report. I'd like to see the report. And I said, well, you know, I don't think it's a public record. Under the exceptions, and I'm not going to go over the citations, but Mike did that in his presentation. Well, it's a report. It was prepared really for litigation. I considered it work product and a privileged document. And, you know, he explained the situation to me. I can tell he was distraught. And, you know, he knew people in town. He knew that I did the report. He knew exactly what he was looking for. He just didn't have it. You know, I don't know how he got it, but somebody said something. And that's okay. The way he had handled it was, I said, look, I'm going to deny your request. He hadn't filed his request yet. But I said, I'm going to send you a letter. I'm going to say we're counting this as an access to public record request. I'm going to deny it. I'm also going to advise you how to take your appeal to the Attorney General's Department. I didn't think it was necessary to do the preliminary step of going to the administrative officer. And I said, you know, ultimately, the Attorney General's Department will make a determination on this. Simultaneous to sending the letter out to the resident, I also sent copies of it out to Mike, and along with the report, with requests that it be viewed in camera. So at least when it came in, he would know what the document was, and they could make the determination on that basis without having the resident to wait all those steps to go through. And we handled it on that basis. And I think that happens more often than comes out. And I see solicitors out there, and I also see officials from town halls. Public record requests are made all the time